Guys! Hope you're all well. My name is Anastasia and today I'll be sharing with you some tips and tricks that I learned and my experience with Airbnb. How I started it was very cheeky because I just purchased a new flat and I had it for 3 weeks before I could move in there, which was basically overlapping as I still had another flat that I was renting and living in. So I thought, why not just rent it out on Airbnb? And I'll put the link below of how I set it up for Airbnb, including the full flat tour, the one I'm sitting in right now, so you can see for yourself how I made it comfortable for the guests. So before I started it, I decided to basically do a bit of a research, and I wasn't sure if I should just commit and rent my flat straight away to strangers because I didn't know, first of all, how much would people want to spend on this flat, and second of all, the most important, if there's even a demand in this area of town where I live. So to do so, I found online, I googled basically a flat that was recently sold maybe 2 years ago in the same building, in the same development that looks pretty much identical to my flat. And maybe it's very cheeky of me, but I copied the pictures and basically I created almost like a fake listing under my name on Airbnb. So I put the pictures, I put description, and I put a rough price. I think I started with like £80 per night. And that's it. So next morning I woke up and I had literally 20 requests for that flat. And I was like, yes, there's a demand, tick. Oh my God, sorry, my dishwasher. And second of all, yes, people are willing to pay £80. So then what I did, I put the price up and I started the listing again. And again, I had a lot of requests. Basically, I went up and up and up until £110, where I still got a few requests, but not as many. And that's it. Then I put basic furniture in this flat, like a double bed and a mattress and a couple of bean bags. And I got the bed completely for free on a website called FreeCycle. And what I did is that once I organized the bed to be picked up, I called men in a van. They went to the owner's home, picked up the bed and the mattress. Then they went to my house, the one I was renting out, and I picked some further like chairs, little table, a couple of bean bags and basic kitchen stuff, the one I wasn't scared to waste on Airbnb guests. Oh, that all cost me £50 to be dropped off in this new flat because it's also quite nearby. And this is how I started. I took some pictures further on with my iPhone and I edited them in just photo editor to make them really bright, because I found from my research and just generally looking at the pictures that the pictures that are very bright, have a lot of white space and just general light are the most successful. Of course, you can't lie about it. If you have a very dark apartment, no matter how light you make it, people will come and they will realize that it was all a lie. So make sure you're doing it very accurately. Of course, you have to be very, very careful of who you choose to approve, because you might have a lot of requests, but until you have the basics that I will list right now, don't approve people. First of all is, of course, photograph on the profile. You have to have it. Some people might think, oh, it's silly, they don't need photograph. Yes, you do, because this is the only way to identify if the person who comes into your flat looks exactly like the photo. I think common sense. Second, very important, is to make sure that they provided an ID that Airbnb has a copy of. Whether it's driving license or passport, you need to make sure that on their profile it says verified ID. And the third and most important is that they have at least 3 to 5 reviews, which are positive as guests. You want to make sure they have reviews stating that they're clean, tidy, non-drinkers, or quiet, or they're out all the time, because this is an ideal guest. You want somebody who comes in, who's either working or sightseeing and just comes to your flat to sleep and keeps it tidy. It's always very beneficial to make your guests happy with the little things. And as you can see in my video underneath this link, you can watch it after, I really made sure that I think from perspective of a guest. I think if I'm a guest coming to London from abroad, what do I need? I need an adapter, because it's one little annoying thing that if you don't have, you just cannot charge your phone. You cannot use a hair dryer, whatever else you brought, little things like that. Then I put an umbrella, some tissues, some basic medic things like plasters, and some like throat healing things like Lemsip. I also put fire blanket, because I think safety is very important. So if you have a gas cooker, definitely make sure you have either fire blanket or fire extinguisher. Attention to detail is of course key. When you're preparing a flat for Airbnb, make sure it looks spotless. But not in that way it has to be super tidy, but that you don't have basic off-putting things like hair on your pillow or wrinkled some things, because if you're a guest, you're coming into the flat and you're like excitingly unwrapping your new bed and there's hairs there, not a good look. Same with the soap. Make sure you put a fresh new soap, especially if it's a bar, because people don't want to feel like somebody else washed their beds with your soap, and it's just not very pleasant. Keep your toilet and your bathroom very clean. I think keeping toilet clean is the most important thing in the Airbnb, renting out, or just generally if you have guests over, because if you have any type of lime scale or stain that might not even be what you're thinking it is, but it's just like a different color or green or brown on your toilet or your sink or your shower or your bath, this will be like huge off-putting gross stain. So make sure your bathroom is spotless. Definitely wipe all the surfaces, make sure there is no dust, and especially all the corners, because I think people who come into your flat, they might just be, oh, thinking this is nice flat, but if they look closely, they might notice all the small details. And I think if the small details are okay, the big things can always be overseen, if that even makes sense. Another tip is listen to Airbnb. What I mean is that listen to Airbnb when they give you price suggestions, because when you do a listing and you go to your calendar, you will either see it all green or red or orange in terms of the prices, because Airbnb adjusts the daily prices for you. I mean, it recommends the daily prices for you depending on the demand and the popularity of your place or their area. And sometimes when I looked at the calendar and the prices they suggested, I was like, wow, it's very low, because some days they suggested like £70 for my place, and other days they suggested £150. I was like, wow, that's crazy. But what I learned is that really trust Airbnb, because in the end of the day, they do want your listing to be successful, listed out, because they want their fee. So even if you think that day price is very, very low, or the other day price is very, very high, just trust it, just go with it, because in the end of the day, even if you have very low price for one day, it's better than having nobody in a day. And even if you have very high price, it's like jackpot. Definitely try to bribe your guests in a cheeky little ways, for example, leaving them little chocolates or fruits or biscuits, because I think we sometimes don't look at the importance of food and how much it can make a guest happy, because if they traveled for a long time, they get to your home and they see a bottle of water or milk or eggs or food, it's just so nice, you know, even basic cereal, because when people are having some kind of urge like hunger, especially, people can get very angry. So imagine somebody comes to your flat very hungry or thirsty and you don't have anything. So it's like an extra hustle to go out and buy those things. And yes, it will cost you a bit of money, but if you're spending, I don't know, under $10 or £5 on these little things, and in the end, the whole experience will be much more positive, and they will definitely review you with good feedback. For example, all my reviews are 5-star, which I'm so excited about. So I think all the little things really do make a difference. So just try to think from the point of view of a guest and just try to surprise them and bribe them with little goodies. A friend of mine actually left a wine bottle because she knew a couple is coming and it was their birthday. So just little things like that. Also, sometimes it helps to ask if your guests are vegan, because nowadays I think we have a lot of interesting eaters in the world, and I'm not against vegan. I was vegan myself for a while, but it's nice to know somebody is a vegan so that you don't leave milk in your fridge but you put soya milk, for example. Another tip is to kind of almost assume the worst from your guests. So even if they had very positive feedbacks in terms of they're clean and tidy, you need to think that they may be clumsy. So don't leave like very fragile vases or candle holders or anything that can break on surfaces that can be easily reached. For example, if you have a window shelf and the window that opens from the bottom up, make sure it's completely clear. No statues, no little like glass jars or anything, because even if somebody is clean and tidy, they can still be a bit clumsy and just break things when they're trying to open. Especially also in your cupboards, if you have I don't know, like mugs and things on the back of the plates. Make sure you put them all almost in the front so that they don't have to reach over the plates and grab it, because again, you can prevent further damage. Another thing I did, because I have wooden floors in my flat and they're very easily scratchable, I put little sticky, fluffy, like fabric stickers on the bottom of my chair. So when the chairs are sliding on the floor, they're not causing any scratches. And I didn't really have that before I thought about Airbnb, but if you scratch the chair just little bits on the wooden floor, it leaves marks. So just try to think of little preventive methods that your guests won't like smash or scratch or stain. For example, if you have a small hallway and you want them to take off the shoes, make sure there is space for it. Make sure they don't trip over, make sure you don't have any cables lying around. So basically just try to think of the guest as a small child that is clumsy and can be dirty and can be awkward. Overall, I would definitely recommend Airbnb to everybody who wants to earn a bit of more cash or just have, experiences of meeting new people. And yeah, just trust your instinct as well, because somebody can be very, very good on paper, but something about them, maybe the photo, maybe something you just feel is not right, just don't pick the person. And yeah, good luck guys. Let me know how it goes. Let me know if you've already tried hosting or traveled with Airbnb, and if you have any other further questions that I can do videos on. Thank you so much for watching guys. I'll see you next time. Bye!